Okay, good morning, everyone. All of council is here this morning, and we are running a few minutes late. We had some technical difficulties, so I would like to call the meeting to order. We have, as I said, all members of council are here. We have our CAO and our office manager with us this morning. And with that, I would like to have a resolution for the adoption of the agenda, please.
Resolve the agenda for the meeting be adopted as circulated with the noted additions. No additions.
No additions, okay. Can I have a mover, please?
Oh, I have an addition.
Okay, just let me get the mover and seconder. Counselor Bazarowicz moves, second, Counselor Strang. Any additions or changes? Go ahead, Counselor Horvis.
I'd just like to talk about, Broken Head.
It's on the agenda.
It's on the
Oh,
agenda.
it is?
Yes, it is. Okay. Anything else? Hearing and seeing nothing, I will call the question. All in favor? Opposed? And that is carried.
In camera.
Yes. And we have a delegation this morning. We have Ed Kaloji from Municipal Relations from the Assessment Branch in Selkirk, and he's handed everybody the information on the impact of the reassessment for 2027, and I think he's gonna go over some of that with us. Anything you wanted to add, Deepak?
No, Madam Mayor, we'll go with the delegation before we confirm the minutes.
Oh, I could have done that.
That's okay.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Ed, whenever you're ready.
Okay, well, good morning. I'm Ed Kaloji. I'm the manager of the Property Assessment Office in Selkirk. We're here today to talk about the 2027 reassessment. This is a legislative requirement where every 2 years we have to update the assessments in Manitoba based on what's happening in the marketplace. So I'll be talking about that. I'll also share a little information about some of the work that we've been doing specifically in St. Clements, just so you have a better idea of what the assessment branch does. So a big part of our function is to value every single property in the province outside of the city of Winnipeg. In St. Clements, there are 8,456 roll numbers. So there's that many properties that we are responsible for valuing. So every house, every farm building, every commercial business, can even go out and assess.
Can you say that number again?
Yeah.
Sure, 8,456 roll numbers.
Okay.
So these numbers I'm sharing right now, aren't in this report, but you will be getting a supplemental statement in a couple of weeks with this. So of those just under 8,500 properties, last year we inspected almost 1,400 properties. So 1,395 inspections were completed in the municipality. We use a lot of tools in our inspection process. We use aerial imagery, we use Google. We also use ArcGIS for valuing farmland. We also rely on physical inspections. We send out cost letters, income letters to owners of investment properties, etc. So we're constantly working throughout the year inspecting properties in St. Clements. The average assessed property in residential properties in St. Clements is valued at $403,500. Last year, we generated supplemental notices for 199 properties. So those are, I guess, supplemental notices are generated whenever we're adding or subtracting assessment to a roll. In most cases, it's when we're adding value. So things like permits taken out for new improvements, be it a farm building or a residential building, etc. If there is a split on a property, a subdivision is processed, all of that comes through our office.
Did you indicate a mean value for the housing?
Yeah, it's 403,500. So that's residential value, and that includes the lot and the building value.
Yeah.
In St. Clements, there are 5,354 rolls with a dwelling unit. Okay, so that's a bit about some of the work that we've been doing in the municipality. We also sometimes get complaints to our office, not everyone is happy when they get their assessment notice. Last year, we had 12 appeals out of, almost 8,500 properties, so we don't get a lot of appeals necessarily every year, but the year before that, we had 58 appeals. So typically in a reassessment year, we'll get lots of phone calls. You yourselves might get phone calls, and if people are concerned about their assessments, please direct them to us, and we'll try to answer this question.
Most people would know, but do you get some calling you and not taking into account that, you didn't assess my house higher, my house is worth more than this? And then you reply, well, we can look at it and you go through a review. However, if we do value your house at more, that means you're gonna be paying more taxes. Do you ever get the pause and go, geez, I didn't think about that?
I'll be out of time.
Okay. I'm just curious,
Yeah.
because often people see a number and they go, my place is worth more than that. And then you go, okay, well, then you go through the math and whatever, and you come out and you say, well, maybe we'll bring it up a bit more.
Yeah, we do get that, the type of calls sometimes. More so it's the opposite, but we will get those. Often when a person is, considering selling their property, we'll get that type of call. We also get that type of call, honestly, when, people are going through a marital split. And sometimes it's some, and that's not the purpose of our existence, like what it's assessed for doesn't impact, that type of situation, but we'll get those calls sometimes. So yeah, now the, dealing with the reassessment, so, the 2027 reassessment notices will be out in the mail today. And those values are arrived at after we've reviewed every single property that has sold in St. Clements. So the new assessment, even though it comes into effect for 2027, is based on an April 1st, 2025 estimate of market value. The previous assessment was based on April 1st, 2023. So we're showing the difference in value over a 2-year period. And the way we arrive at that is we review every single property that sells in the municipality. And in that 2-year time frame, there were 531 properties that sold in St. Clements. And of those, we used 428 sales to arrive at our assessment values. Now, St. Clements is a big municipality, but it's interesting to note that of those sales, 87% were residential in nature. Right, so of those 428 sales, 374 were residential, so it could be a small holding, a land and building sale, but the primary purpose of that property was residential. We only had 13 farm sales, so not a lot, but there are sales throughout. We had 9 commercial sales, and then 22 sales of multifamily, so basically your property.
Go ahead, Dave.
Is there a percentage that you have that, kind of the property values of homes have gone up?
Yeah, that's coming up in the report.
Oh, okay.
That's the good news is there. So some of the highlights of all those sales. So there were 5 residential sales that sold in excess of $1 million. And the highest residential sale in St. Clements was 1.85 million. We had 4 cottage properties sell for in excess of $500,000, and the highest was $699,000 for a cottage property. Looking over at farm sales, we haven't had like big, 2,000 or 3,000 acre type sales over the last couple of years, but we had one in East Selkirk, for example, a 3 parcel sale, 240 acres, sold for $1,063,000. So basically about $4,500 cultivated acre, and that's that sale. We had another one closer to Gull Lake. Pretty marginal land on this parcel, that one sold for about $3,200 an acre. So those are some of the highlights in terms of what's been happening in the marketplace. So if you open up your reports on page 2, this is where all the numbers are coming out for this reassessment. So provincially, the average assessment is going up about 13 or 11%. In St. Clements, it's going up about 4%. Now sometimes last reassessment, it was the reverse. The provincial average was 13% and St. Clements was 22%, for example. With the reassessment, most of it's related to market changes, but we also see, the new construction can have an impact on the assessment base and improvements to existing properties. What's not included in these 2027 reassessment figures yet are we have 248 pending inspections for new construction. And the complex right behind here is one of these. So that's not included in these numbers.
Ed?
Yeah.
When you're saying like about the buildings next door to us, like when are they assessed? When they're occupied or when they're completed?
So, the legislation gives us, guidance on that, so typically, it's within 2 years of the original permit date, or when it's occupiable. Now, a complex like that, there's multiple buildings, you could have the first building that might be occupied, and the third and fourth might be phased in.
Right,
So, we would consider that, and when is that happening? So, for example, this year, a portion of it might be added to the assessment roll, and the balance could be added next year. It all depends, like right now it says, ready in the summer, well,
right.
maybe it's ready, maybe it's not.
Yeah. Well, definitely not all 4 will be ready, but 1 might be, or maybe 2 may be, I don't know at this point.
Yeah, so we
We're
would,
not really involved with it, so,
yeah,
but
so we
just
would,
curious.
we would look at how it's progressing along, and the portions that aren't, usable yet wouldn't be assessed until the following year.
Okay, thank you.
So when we look at the assessment base for St. Clements, we break it down into a few different classes. So when we look at single family residential, which is about 85% of your tax base, those assessments are increasing about 2.6% with this reassessment. Apartments are increasing by 1.3%, and again, that's not including the new development. Condos are dropping slightly, 1.6%. The total residential portfolio is going up about 2.5%. Farm assessments, and this is consistent throughout Manitoba, are increasing in value above the average of residential, so that the farm is going up just under 14%. Commercial assessments, just over 7%. Institutional, pretty much in line with the average for the municipality. Pipeline and railway are legislated rates, and those rates are 4.4 and 8.3%. So overall, when we're looking at your assessment base, an average increase of 3.5%. What does that mean? Does that mean a person's taxes would go up 3.5%? Well, it really depends on what's going to happen with the mill rate. So we addressed that question on page 4 of the report. So on page 4, there's another chart, and what this does is this looks at the combination of municipal and school taxes when you take those average assessment increases and look at how much revenue needs to be generated. We make an assumption, and this is that your budget for 2027 will be identical to what it is for 2026. And we know that's a perfect world scenario, and I don't live in a perfect world, and I know you don't live in a perfect world. So this isn't a true projection of what would happen, because it's not taking inflationary pressures into account. So you need to consider that when you look at this report. But just to demonstrate what would happen. So if you take that average residential property that's going up by 2.6%, if your budget and the school division's budgets required the same dollar amount as it did for this year, for next year, that property would get a 3.2%, would be paying 3.2% less in tax. And that's not necessarily accurate. You need to factor in inflation, right? So it would, realistically, that property would see a slight increase next year. But most properties won't see any major shifts except for the farm properties. Farm properties will see above average increase, and that's because the average farm assessment is increasing above average. When you look at the bottom of the chart, it shows a total dollar amount. So under 2026, it shows $25.563 billion being collected, and in the next box, it's showing just under 25 million. And so what's that's indicating is some of the school tax pressures will be, there will be a bit of a moving away, a shifting away from the residents of St. Clements. For example, in Winnipeg, the average assessments are increasing quite a bit above this amount. And if you're sharing a school division, like River's Transcona School Division, part of that school tax should go to the city as opposed to the residents of St. Clements.
Assuming that they realize that,
Yes, assuming that
because
they
we
realize that.
have to talk to them about that.
Well, these numbers don't really accurately reflect what's been going on for the last few years. And I think that's something that we need to talk about, is that you're making an assumption that the taxes stay the same.
Yeah,
The mill rate stays the same. But realistically, even in a reassessment year, like the previous reassessment year, the school board still brought in 12 to 15% increases on top of the reassessment. And so I think this might lead people into thinking that that the school board has gone up significantly in the last few years. And I think it might be worthwhile having that kind of trend analysis done as well.
when we make these projections, we don't know what the budgets are for 2027, but I've been doing this long enough. I've seen these projections understate the tax impact most definitely. I try to make that as clear as possible to municipal councils. We don't meet with school trustees, unfortunately. I wish we could, so they could see these reports and those impacts, and I know the checks are signed to St. Clements, but more than half of the money is for the school divisions.
60% actually.
62%.
62%, so it's a big chunk.
62.3%.
Sounds like a sore spot.
I'm just wondering that, would the assessment department, I know it's a provincial agency, would they be open to taking a look at trend analysis? Like, what is the trend occurring in taxes for the last 3 to 5 years? And then using that as an option as well to show that this might be what could be more realistically projected as a tax impact. Because once the municipalities and the school divisions see the tax impact, maybe that'll have the right type of dialogue.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, that level of information is not available, and people will see this and say, oh, there's a possibility, so there's an opportunity to capture that savings.
Okay.
And it's not.
Yep. No disagreements. So I can't answer to that, but I will certainly pass on your concern.
Sure. That's all I could ask.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Oh, go ahead, Councillor Strang, sorry.
That's okay, just for clarification of a statement you just made, so you made about the River East Transcona School Division, that it will impact Winnipeg, but not the residents of St. Clements.
There's just a bit of a tax shift, just because the average assessment, so in the case of St. Clements, the average residential assessment's going up about 2.5%. Whereas in Winnipeg, specifically North Kildonan, the assessments in North Kildonan are going up, I believe, in the 14 to 15% range, the average residential assessment there. So because their assessments are growing at a faster rate than in St. Clements, some of the school tax shifts back to the city on that. Last reassessment, it was the other way around, where the assessment increases were above average in St. Clements compared to the city, and there was a bit of a burden shifted to residents in St. Clements. And then again, there's also 3 school divisions within, St. Clements as well.
Okay, anything else? Okay, I think you're good, Ed.
Okay, so, yeah, but on the bottom of page 4, there's a chart that says 62% of people will see a tax decrease, and again, that's highly optimistic. So, now, on page 5, we take the school division out of the equation, and we look only at the municipal levy. And so, on that same residential property, with a 2.6% residential assessment increase, in a perfect world where your budget's exactly the same, there would be a slight reduction in taxes of 0.9%. And again, it's more likely a 3 or 4% increase, as opposed to the slight increase that I'm showing. The important thing is when people call us, the important thing we ask is, what is your increase and how does it compare to the average assessment change in the St. Clements? If your assessment is changing relatively in line with the average assessment increase, you won't see an increase that's greatly above or below what everyone else in the municipality is saying. But if the average assessment's going up 2.6% and your assessment's going up 30%, you will definitely see a substantial tax increase. If you're seeing your assessment drop by 10 or 15%, you might see a reduction in your taxes. But, so it's very important to know what that average increase is. Page 6, I'm not gonna go over anything on there because this is a pretty calm reassessment. But on page 7, so last year, we had a lot of calls to our office. It was related to the changes in the homeowners affordability tax credit. It really impacted owners of secondary residences, so a lot of property owners of the cottages in the northern portion of the municipality, a lot of those people had lost their school tax rebate checks and lost their HATC credit, and they were paying the full tax amount. Last year, the HATC credit was $1,500. This year, it's being moved up to $1,600, and next year it's being moved up to $1,700. Now, anyone's property is assessed north of $1 million, and this is a change this year. They will receive a clawback in that HATC credit. So I searched the database for St. Clements. You have 57 residential properties that are assessed north of $1 million. And up for every $1,000 in extra assessment, you'll be losing $3.40 of that credit. So once you hit 1.5 million, you don't get that HATC credit anymore. So that's something that was introduced in this year's provincial budget, and so your higher value properties might not be too happy.
How about farmland?
Nothing's changing on the farmland. The farmland school tax credit that's still in place remains in place. It's just that this HATC credit is it's almost seen as a wealth tax, where if residential properties.
Farmland, some of these big farms are millions.
Yeah, some of them are, yeah. And farm is assessed at 26% of the assessed value, whereas residential is at 45%. So the farm property does have a lower tax rate because of that. There are also farm land school tax credits available to farm owners as well.
So what would be considered 1.5 with property? Would that be something like next door here? Would that be in that category?
So it would have to be a single family residence.
Okay, so like a farm with a house on it could be worth, if one title was all the acreage, if it's a separate title, it doesn't count, right?
Yeah, no, it's, all we're doing is looking at the residential assessment of the property. So if, let's say someone has a section of land And so typically the sites that the house is in on, that portion will get a residential assessment. So say 5 acre yard sites plus the residential buildings. But if there's say 30 or 40 farm buildings, those are all assessed as farm buildings and the land is assessed at farm land. So we'll have a tax split on that type of property.
So there's not too many farms that are getting assessed?
No, I would say the search, for almost all of those 57 properties would be in the southern part of the municipality. A lot of riverfront property.
Maybe the colony, maybe the only one.
No,
because
they won't
have-
qualify
no,
either.
They don't, no,
They fall under farm.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
go ahead, Scott.
So just going back to this new calculation. So is that being done by the province directly on those properties? They're just gonna identify the ones that are over a million and reduce to 1,700?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay.
Show up on the tax bill. It's just that those people will see a pretty big jump on their net tax bill and you'll probably get a call and I presume we'll get the call and explain what's happened with that credit.
Okay, anything else, Fred? Go ahead, Deepak.
Are we able to share all this information, including
Absolutely,
what you've said?
absolutely. Yeah, a lot of municipalities, will post this report, online. Some don't, but it's your report, so you do with it.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
So with this notice, so this is in the mail today, so in exactly 2 days, we'll start getting lots of phone calls. A lot of people can go to our website, look up, you can look up anyone's assessment, you can see what properties have sold for. On the website, you could sign up for My Property MB, so when you do that, you can see a breakdown of your assessment in more detail. And you can create a login for that, and anytime you want, you can go on and log in and take a look at that. We have a toll-free number that people can call our office to, and we can answer their questions. We have assessment fact sheets. We're also having an open house, and we're going to be at the East Selkirk Rec Center on June 16th from 3 to 7. If the municipality could advertise that on your website perhaps, or anywhere else on any public signage, that would be appreciated. We like it when people come to our open houses, just so if there's concerns, we can deal with them, as opposed to having to deal through an appeal process. But we find often if we can deal with an issue early and upfront, everyone's happier.
So that was June 16th, and what was the time?
3 to 7 p.m.
I think there's a copy of the letter in our meeting package.
Yeah.
And I was just gonna say that we can put it, we do a newsletter every month, so we'll put it in the newsletter regarding this.
Now there's one last thing, and this isn't in the report, but I just wanted to bring it up. So the last year, we started dealing with short-term rental properties differently in that we can apply a class 60 assessment portion to a short-term rental.
Nice.
Some municipalities, the way it works is the municipalities, we rely on municipalities to forward us a list of properties, sort of like a permit system, where, when permits are taken out, we get those permits and we inspect. Similar with the short-term rentals. We did it predominantly in the recreational heavy municipalities, and it's not I'm not going to say it's going to generate millions of extra dollars in revenue for a municipality, but it can have an impact, especially in areas where you're getting lots of complaints from people complaining about the short-term rental, where people are coming and having a good time and leaving proof of that afterwards. I know it's been an issue in a lot of the recreational municipalities. So if that's something that the municipality wanted us to inspect, you can use MMO to send us that information, and we will inspect those properties. And apply that commercial assessment to those properties if it's warranted, so.
I guess my question would be, Ed, is when you say short-term rental, like what are you talking, a week, 10 days, 2 weeks?
Transitional, residence, so it's gotta be something that's not available, on a month-to-month basis, like an apartment building. Be something that's typically occupied for no more than 90 days, but typically a week, 3 days, 2 weeks, that sort of thing.
Okay, thank you.
It's a 15% increase.
Okay, anything else?
Anything else, Ed, that you would like to share?
No, that's everything.
Okay, any other questions for Ed this morning? Deepak, you're good?
No, excellent presentation.
Yeah. Thank you very much for coming in this morning, Ed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to go back and we will do the confirmation of minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes that we're going to confirm today.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thanks, Ed.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, take care.
Close the doors, keep them
No,
open.
keep them open, thank you.
Resolve the minutes of April 28th, 2026 regular meeting of council and the May 5th, 2026 financial plan hearing be adopted as presented.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Spicer seconds. Any further discussion or corrections or changes to those minutes? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
So on the April 28th, I have a couple of administrative ones. And they're down in the planning section. So on 14/25, we tabled that application. But yet we have the resolution in here for 14/26, and I think that should be removed just because it's tabled. Does that make sense, Mr. CAO?
Yes, we can look at removing that.
And then the other one,
Resolution hasn't been passed.
yeah, the other one is where?
So that was for conditional use 6 of 2026 that you're talking about, at 14.5, yeah.
Yes, sorry. And then, yeah, this is the 14/26. It just needs a carried underneath it. Missing after the resolution. And that's all I have.
Okay, anybody else have any comments or corrections to those either sets of minutes? Not seeing anybody's hand raised. I have a mover, I have a seconder, so with that, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, we'll go down to number 5 on our agenda, which is communications for action. And the first one we have is the Selkirk District Community Foundation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is I Care About a Cause event that they are holding on Wednesday, May 27th at 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. They've invited all of council, and it's to recognize the loyal donors to the Selkirk District Community Foundation. And will be held in Clandeboye Community Club at 111 Main Street in Clandeboye.
Okay, is anybody else planning to go? Cause I see Heather does have in there mayor and council, but I'm just wondering if anybody else is planning to go.
I might, I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll move with mayor and council?
Yeah.
So resolve that Mayor Feeblecorn and council be authorized to attend the Selkirk District Community Foundation I Care About a Cause at the Clandeboye Community Club in Clandeboye, Manitoba on May 27th, 2026.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Belanger seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. The next item is the Eastern District Municipal Golf Tournament.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a golf tournament for the Eastern District, for the Eastern District, for the, on Thursday, July 9th, 2026. And it's in, LaBroca.
Okay. Any interest to go to that one? I'm not sure what the resolution says. But I see here, are we still using the kind of spreadsheet to see who's going where? And how often?
We have this is the first one.
This is the first one for this year, okay. Maybe that's why I can't see. Okay, I'm not sure, Heather, is anybody interested in going? I'm not seeing,
I just had Dave who was interested.
I thought I.
I'm looking on the phone.
I just put maybe, so
Maybe, yes.
if there was four, if you needed a foursome, if we're not going, I'm okay with that too, doesn't matter. Cause usually we just put four, say four, and then we try to fill it, if we're gonna go at all, right?
right,
But if we're not even gonna go, then why are we going? I'm only gonna go if Sandra goes, because I wanna see her try those new clothes on, see if they're probably rotting away, yeah, that's often, probably all rusted, you know, from not being used or whatever.
okay, I'm gonna ask the question this way, should we pass a resolution and then we can figure out if we have a team to go, and if not, we just won't pay the registration?
Probably easiest. Usually when you go to, Eastern Municipal,
Yeah, I think we have gone quite often in the past.
Mr. Administrator usually goes as well.
Mhm. Okay,
Okay, so resolved, Mayor, Phoebe Corning Council be authorized to attend the Eastern District Municipal Golf Tournament at LaBroca Golf Course in LaBroca, Manitoba on July 9th, 2026.
can I have a mover, please? Counselor Bazarowicz, Counselor Horbis seconds, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. The next one is the Lord Selkirk School Division, the award celebration, and I know that I have not been able to attend in the past couple of years, because of FCM. Is anybody able to attend? And Counselor Belanger, I know you have been going in the past, to that. Are you able
There's
to?
others that said they would go, so I just, okay, well, like Sandra and you said you wanna go.
No, this is for the award celebration.
Okay, sorry, I was thinking about the dinner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, this is the awards celebration, and I think the last couple of years you have attended. Are you able to go this year, or is it not working for you this year?
I can go.
Anybody else interested to go? I said I wouldn't be able to, cause it's June the 3rd, and I think that would be the day that those of us that are going to FCM could be heading out.
So resolved, Councillor Robert Belanger be authorized to attend the Lord Selkirk Regional Comprehensive Secondary School Annual Award Celebration at the Lord Selkirk Regional Comprehensive Secondary School in Selkirk, Manitoba on June 3rd, 2026.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Spicer, Counselor Strang seconds. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. The next one is the Cozy Fox, and that is kickoff to summer market, and that's another one that I'm not gonna be able to attend, because that is, I think it's that weekend that we're away, June 6th, Saturday, June 6th. So if someone who is not going to FCM is able to attend, that would be great, and if not, we will have to send our regrets.
When do you go?
Let's go to FCM.
You
I'm
could fly
pretty
back.
sure.
You could fly back.
Okay, so we'll just receive it as information then.
That's right, but I would kind of appreciate a letter going back to him, or a note of some sort that no one is able to attend. That'd be. Okay, and the next one is the Gull Lake Ratepayers Association, and again, that is on the Saturday, June the 6th, I believe it is.
Correct. June sixth at 10 a.m.
Yeah,
Same deal.
yeah, well, it just happened, and that's the second year that this has happened too, where the Gull Lake ratepayers are having their association meetings while we're away, so. Is anybody able to attend?
I think we have Dave Sutherland being it.
Awesome.
The which one?
Gull
Gull
Lake,
Lake.
Yeah, I put that down.
okay, perfect.
So,
Rob, to,
Go ahead.
Councillor Belanger,
Rob,
are
are
you
you
able to
gonna
attend?
go to Gull Lake if you're able?
Yes, I'll go if I can get there, yeah, it's in the
Okay.
morning for, got time.
Yeah, okay, so two counselors will be able to attend, hopefully that one.
So, resolved, Councillor Dave Sutherland and Councillor Rob Belanger be authorized to attend the Gull Lake Ratepayers Association Annual General Meeting at the Gull Lake Green Space on June sixth, 2026.
You can put me down if I make it also.
Sure. And Councillor Scott Spicer.
Okay, so we have three counselors that should be able to go, or a couple hopefully will go. So can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowitz, second, please, Councillor Sutherland. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, call the question, all in favor, opposed, carried. Okay, 5.6 on our agenda is Selkirk Biz. It's the second annual All for Local Golf Tournament.
Yes, Madam Mayor. So this is the soccer golf tournament on June 18, 2026, run by the Biz, and it's at the soccer community golf course.
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
I, looked at this and then I looked at what the fee is. It's pretty pricey. $225 a golfer.
Oh, for that thing there? Yeah, that's quite a bit.
And
Usually about
just
100
dinner's
bucks.
150.
Sorry,
And just to go for dinner's 150.
150.
on top of that?
No,
No, that would be included in your,
Oh, sorry,
but say
sorry.
if you didn't golf and you just wanted to go for dinner
It's
too.
150
So
bucks.
for dinner's $50, right? Usually now, eh, Rob?
I think so.
So.
Yeah, but they're asking 150
$100
for
Per
just,
person?
If you're
Yeah.
just going to dinner,
Oh,
So
anyone
just to
may,
go with Councillor Spicer said.
yeah, anyone may attend just the dinner and join the fun at $150.
and
But
normally
usually our golfing's about
150,
150, isn't
yeah.
it?
Yeah,
around there.
It's a little pricey.
so what is the,
well, this is a different golf thing.
this is Selkirk Biz.
Yeah.
Well, there's a few chambers involved, that the money will not all stay for soccer, it'll be, yeah,
Yeah.
Lactabani, a bunch of the chambers have gotten together.
Yeah, and just reading a little bit further here that for the $250 per golfer, you get golf, cart, lunch and steak dinner. So really, when you look at that, I mean, not each golfer is gonna have a cart. So you've got 4 people contributing to the cost of that cart.
Yeah.
So,
And
oh, 2, yes, sorry. Go ahead, Rob.
the AGM that we attended, Debbie, you and I, it was stressed then and it was stressed in other meetings that the chamber is really trying to find ways to fundraise and make a bit more, few more
Right.
shekels.
Right.
So this is one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess there are some that, you know, don't have, too much issue with paying that much per golfer, but I think it is a little pricey, but I'll leave it up to council to decide what you'd like to do.
Yeah, we don't have to go to every golf thing, you know what I mean? Like, it's taxpayers' dollars, too.
And we do fund Selkirk Biz, do we not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so,
Okay, so we're going to pass
Just
on
receiving
this.
us some information, thank you.
Please.
Okay, so that takes us to new and other business.
That is
So,
correct. Thank you.
so we're moving on to signing of the amending of the development agreement. And what this is the amending agreement, so there were lands that were subdivided And it was originally with the original developer, which was Terracon Developments, who had acquired the land. And as you'll see on the map, it shows where it is. It's off of Raleigh and by just north of Dunning. And what they were responsible for building a road as well as expanding Minkus Road so to allow for future development. The developer has sold their land to another developer. And so they hadn't completed any of the information, so we're just transferring over the development agreement requirements from one developer to the next developer. So all the requirements that were there and that council originally approved are still there with the new developer. To give you some further information, we already had a meeting this week, and the new developer is looking at putting Blackbird Drive as well as expanding Minkus almost immediately. They're just waiting for road restrictions to be lifted and they'll be able to start doing work.
Can you say who the new developer is?
The new developer is Schinkel Properties or Schinkel Developments, who bought the land from Terracon.
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Okay, so their subdivision approval has, outside of just the development agreement, has a bunch of other conditions, so they would take over those conditions?
Correct. Which ones are you specifically asking about, Councilor?
Well, every time we pass a subdivision approval, there's a number of conditions involved.
Yes, all those conditions
Right.
are carried over because all those conditions were put into the development agreement, which was originally signed by Terracon. So what this is the changing of the name on the development agreement because it's an agreement between two parties now. Schinkel Developments has taken over all responsibilities that Terracon had already made commitments on.
Okay, so that development agreement has been registered on title.
Correct.
So is this agreement also going to be registered
Yes,
on
it'll
title?
replace the other title agreement, correct?
So it's almost like buying an entity, like a corporation, right?
Yes, and you were,
Yeah.
Yeah, so you
And all
just
the
take the
obligations and
responsibility of the corporation.
correct.
Okay.
Go ahead, Rob.
You just envision when that transition takes place, that someone human doesn't screw up and that new one, when they pull the old one out under Terracon, that the new agreement goes in place.
Well, I think the
Yes.
old agreement stays, and
Yes.
this one is going to be registered also.
Okay,
Because it would have had to been put in when they originally went to land titles, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm just saying down the road, if someone asks for the development agreement and a person just clicks and bet
Right.
that one, it could be an old one, right? Mistakes happen.
Yeah. Okay, so if we have a resolution, let's bring it forward unless there are any further questions.
Resolved that Council of Barone Municipality of St. Clements approves the amending development agreement for subdivision S22-2980 and authorize the appropriate officials to execute the agreement with Schinkel Properties Holdings Limited Incorporated.
Moved by Councillor Horbus, second please, Councillor Sutherland, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, call the question, all those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, so now we are down to our accounts. The first item we have on the agenda is the list of accounts for the period ending May 12th.
So, the resolution is resolved, Council approve the May 12th, 2026 list of accounts, check numbers 260, excuse me, 260000488 to 260000545 in the amount of $473,422.88 for payment.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horbus, Councillor Bazarowicz seconds. Any questions or comments on the list of accounts for this time round? Not seeing many hands go up, so I will call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, also under our finance, we have a grant for East Beach's social scene.
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you. And so what this is the grant for East Beach's social scene, and they're seeking sponsorship for their inaugural golf tournament. And they've asked to hold sponsor or a banquet sponsor. Banquet sponsorship is $100 to $500. In reviewing this, the administration is recommending that we approve a donation of $100 for, inaugural East Beaches Scene Golf Tournament at the banquet sponsorship. For a banquet sponsorship it's happening on May 23rd this year.
Okay, so we're gonna do a banquet sponsorship for $100 then, that's.
Thank you, that's better said.
I just wanted to make sure, cause I'm reading the whole sponsorship for 150, so.
Correct, yes, we're doing a
Okay.
banquet sponsorship.
For 100,
That
okay,
we're recommending.
yeah.
Part of it.
Any questions or comments? If not, oh, go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
Have we give them money before?
No, this
Not
is
for
a-
this is their first golf tournament, so,
Thank you.
okay.
So now you'll be giving them every year.
Well, they may ask every year,
Probably.
depends. Do you wanna bring the resolution forward?
Resolved, council approved the $100 donation to the inaugural East Beaches Social Scene Golf Tournament as a banquet sponsorship for the May 23rd, 2026 tournament at Victoria Beach Golf Course.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Basarowicz, Councillor Horvis seconds, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, if we move to bylaws, we have our one bylaw, which is our tax levy bylaw, which we've given first reading and had our public hearing on, so we're able to move forward with the second and third reading, so.
Yes, Madam Mayor, and I just want to highlight a couple of things.
Okay,
The bylaw has been updated as part of our, after our first reading was, we sent it over to provincial MMO to do a review and identify if there were any concerns or any options of adjusting anything. They took a look at the bylaw and they just suggested that it was related with our local improvement districts that were established. It was just the projection of the tax levy that would be coming out of them. And there was a bit of an adjustment. There was an adjustment to the East Selkirk Sewer and Water LID that was established in 2016 based on the reassessment numbers that they made a slight adjustment here and there. This is all immaterial numbers. We're looking at about $6,000 to $7,000 here and there. And so it has zero impact on the tax levy or the bylaws itself, but I wanted to make sure council was aware that there were some changes. So, as an example, the tax levy that was identified for, the total tax levy for, education and municipal was identified at $26,626,238.23. It has changed to $26,632,599.59. So it's immaterial in the sense of the numbers that we're looking at. But
So
it
we
is,
just adjusted our allowance for tax assessment?
that's what it was, because they didn't like us using our allowance for taxes. But I think it's a good way to at least meet some of the provincial requirements and be able to deliver on that. So, it addressed also like other revenues and transfers and so forth. But there's very little, in some cases, it was like a 51-cent difference. But best to be accurate than not.
yeah,
So I just wanted to make sure council was aware of that before we put forward the tax levy for the second reading. There are no other changes. That has, as you can expect, that had an impact on the first page of the which a lot of people tend to look at in the tax levy bylaw. And so as an example, when I take a look at the first page of the current tax levy, so the 9.2% still stays the same. So as an example, the tax levy went up from 26 million, as I mentioned, which is a $6,361.30 difference from what was presented. In the case of 2027, because it just follows through, it was $6,488 of a $28 million levy that was identified. In the case of the general government, so in order to put those funds appropriately, there was that increased general government services by $3,067.95, and for fiscal services by $3,293.36. So that split up in $6,000 that we talked about. And so that gives you a bit of an idea of where we are. So as I mentioned, in the scheme of things, it's not a material enough change, but I want to make sure council is aware for what was presented, what we are presenting today.
Okay, any questions, comments? If not, I will ask for the resolution to be brought forward, please.
So resolve bylaw 2 of 2026 being a bylaw to provide for the 2026 annual tax levy as amended be given second reading.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, second, please. Councillor Sutherland. Any other discussion or questions? Hearing and seeing none, call the question, all in favor, opposed, and that is carried. And we can bring it forward for third reading, please.
Resolved bylaw 2 of 2026 being a bylaw to provide for the 2026 annual tax levy as amended be read a third time.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, Councillor Horbis seconds. And please remember it's a recorded vote because it is third reading. So with that, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? And that is unanimous. Thank you very much for that. And we can move on to communications for information. If there's anything that council wants to bring forward. There is, I guess the only thing I'll mention is Manitoba Good Roads, the minutes are there and the new board of directors is also listed there, I think, someplace. So, other than that, anybody else have anything? Okay, we're down to number 10 on our agendas, which is council reports, and I'm going to start with Councillor Boulanger today.
I left my book at home, but I think all I have is our last meeting and the round turn, our turning circle open house that we went to.
Right.
It was lightly attended, I'll say. There wasn't many people that showed up. The ones that did show up were clearly interested in what we had to show, and that's why they came. There wasn't really people coming with an extra grind, I'll say, or anything. It was just people, good people that wanted to see what we were doing, and they had their answers, or their questions answered, and they left quite happy.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way because I was also there and so were a couple of the other counselors, but that's how I felt too, is there was really no negativity. Everybody was just kind of wanting to know when this is all gonna happen, and unfortunately, we're not quite sure of that date yet, so.
And I will say, the other developer that we always talk about, just to the right here, to the right of Dale Places, he is biting at the bit, and he was there.
Yes,
And he just
yes.
wanted to see how it looked in a drawing, and he was quite ready to move. So
Yeah.
as Mr. Administrator said, they had been in contact with him over the last many months, and sure enough, he did show up there.
Yeah, and he would like to go ahead yesterday. So, very anxious to get going, so hopefully he'll be able to get going one of these days in the not too distant future. Okay, and that's all you have there,
Oh,
Rob?
sorry, that's all I have, thank you.
That's okay. Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
May 5th, I attended the Barn Plan Financial Hearing with all the council. May 6th, attended McHappy Days, which I was texting everybody to, we should keep them there or not, but I didn't wait for her to get out. She wanted to stay for a while. There was lots of people there. Actually, I was actually surprised during the daytime. I slipped out from work to go run up and do lunch up there, but that was at 1:30 when I got there, and I was surprised at how many people were there in the building. It was quite crowded. And May 11th, last night I attended the Rotary Club meeting, with the Red River Basin Commission. And they did their report on the Netley Marsh of one of the projects that's going on, the restoration that's going on locally here in the area.
Perfect.
What was the picture of that person in the jail suit in with you? I didn't recognize him.
Oh, that was Marcel Lemire,
Oh,
and he's from the car club
okay,
in Petersfield.
okay.
Paddy Field, or what's it called?
Lily
Lily
Pad
Pad.
Cruisers, yeah, and I've known him for years and years and years, so, yeah, he was in after me, so. It's kind of exciting, but,
Actually, the RCMP brought him in.
yes,
And
yes.
the
the
police part and
RCMP
everything,
officer.
That's
yeah.
nothing new for Marcel.
You know him too, Dave?
Yeah,
Yeah, so,
used to work for highways.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I knew him.
And he came in with a
Before
ball and
that.
chain and
Yeah.
everything. Some of them were really acting it up,
Yeah.
like really good.
He's
So,
a character.
it was, yeah, he is a character, so. Anything else, Counselor Strang?
Yep, that's everything. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Go ahead, Counselor Sutherland.
Thank you. April 29th, as Rob said, you have the open house for the roundabout and, yeah, not many people there, so I guess that was a good thing. May the 5th, the financial plan. May 11th, I just had a short Mars Zoom meeting. Elections of officers, everybody, same people. As far as their chair and treasurer is kind of always the same. And that's all I have.
Okay, thanks for that, Dave. Counselor Horvis.
Well, 28th was our last, meeting here. And then on the 29th, we had the roundabout meeting, I went to that in Salford, okay, Rob was saying, and Dave, and the mayor was there. It was good, they had a lot of pictures, a lot of people there, our guy was there, from the area.
Sean Collins.
Yeah, I like that Sean, he's a really good guy, smart guy. He's really good. And then, on the 5th, financial plan. That's it.
Okay, thank you for that. Go ahead, Counselor Bazarowicz.
All I've got is, on May 5th, the financial plan presentation here.
Okay. Go ahead, Counselor Spicer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I also attended on April 29th the East Selkirk Roundabout Open House. I was there for about an hour. I'm guessing there was about 20 people there. There were a couple of people that brought up traffic lights, so I did talk to them about, well, now you're stopping traffic, you're not letting people go through. That's one of the benefits of having a circle. I don't think I convinced them, but. May the 5th, also the financial plan hearing, and that's all I have.
Thank you for that. Actually, it was a little quieter the last couple of weeks. I have, for April 28th, the regular council meeting here. The 29th, I also attended the open house, and as I said earlier, there weren't any negative comments that I heard, but everybody is a little anxious as to when this is going to happen. May the 5th, the financial plan hearing, we were all here for that. And May 6th, McHappy Day, it was kind of a fun event, but I was just gonna let you know that I did get a thank you from the owner of McDonald's the next morning. And he says, we did an amazing job together. We raised $15,000 for Ronald McDonald House. This is up close to $6,000 over last year. So everybody did a really good job, that was it. Yeah, the only thing that I kind of was not disappointed, but I would have liked to know like how much each person raised, but I don't know that that information is available because when I went to put my donation in, I just went to the counter and you paid at the counter, or you gave your donation at the counter and you got a receipt for it, but I don't know if they were tracking who donated to who, so. Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
So there was only one of you in jail at the time?
Yes.
No cellmates?
Well, except the RCMP, there were two of them. Marcel was just in there with me for a little while until it was his turn,
Yeah,
so.
but you were there with, Mayor from St. Andrews too.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, I thought I saw her there.
No,
Well,
the
she-
picture was with, I think that was Marcel's wife.
That was somebody else from the lily pad cruisers,
Lily-
yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, there was another
Okay.
lady in with me
Yeah.
for a little while, yeah, so, it was good, it was good. There was, as Sandra said, there was a lot of people around, milling around that day, like, I couldn't believe how busy it was. Deepak was in there, and it was like super busy, and I was there for 1 o'clock, and it was packed. So, anyways, it was a fun day, and
Just a
that's all
note,
I had.
just a note, I left money, but didn't keep the mayor any longer, not to get around.
Yeah, that's right. So, and that's all I have. Your turn, Deepak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So as I mentioned, I wasn't able to provide my written report last month due to the various challenges of getting everything completed that month. So I'm going to provide a written report today as well as at the end of the month for the catch up for the rest of the month. So this covers for February and March, or March and April. Sorry, February and March, and then I'll provide an April report for the next meeting. So with that report, what I'll do is I'll go through my report. So the first item is the St. Clements Activity Center. We have achieved occupancy permit approval and are in the process of completing the final deficiencies and warranty items. Seasonal work is still left to complete and is being finalized in regards to the site works. Reports to the province and the federal government in regard to the meeting the green buildings designation have all been submitted, and a plan for a grand opening with the province and the federal government is being planned for June. And that will become our grand opening, pending approval from those other levels of government as to the timing and what we're looking for is probably somewhere near the end of June, mainly because that's where I'm gonna ask Brendan to come up later for in-camera discussions, and we'll talk about some of those dates that we presented to the province and the federal government already. The Beconia well upgrades to meet the current Manitoba drinking water and groundwater protection regulations are being completed as we speak. Construction of a new compliant water system will take place on the existing site in this spring, and the RM will make every reasonable effort. So we've already put public information out publicly that will make every reasonable effort to maintain the public access to the well during the construction. We're presently working on that right now, as I understand. However, temporary access restrictions may occur as work progresses. So when they're doing the drill or connecting up some of the connections, they may have to stop, and we're gonna work on that to make sure that we don't impact our residents. We have posted on our website, social media, and to tell residents for their safety to use caution when they're attending to the site and follow all signage and barricades as we have our workers work through this construction period.
I just
Go
on
ahead,
that
Councillor.
Beconia well thing, maybe if we can kind of head that off at the pass, like you were saying, there's gonna be some closure dates there or something, or maybe even a little sign, because if people see it shut down, then the story will start that they're closing the well again, and oh my God, and
And so-
whatever, so it's gotta be really said that it's just for a day or two or something, otherwise they'll go nuts again.
We've already posted on our website, social media, and are looking at signage on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So the new landfill cell continues to be on schedule, and it was identified we do not, that we don't have enough clay available to excavate it from the footprint of the cell itself. So when the cell was created, the option is to take all that clay that's pulled out of there and use that to create the impermeable base that's used, and it's also was supposed to be used as part of our for our leaching expansion. And so when it was identified, because of the type of material that was coming out of there, that we need to do some additional digging and pull out some more clay, so we're clearing some trees and doing that. It's all within the budget, it's all part of it. I felt council should know about that, in case we get any questions about why we're cutting down some trees in that area. It's right beside the cell, and it's expected to be done.
I saw that the other day, it's very funny when I saw it, now I know.
But those trees that they're taking down or whatever, that'll be for, could be for harvest, right?
Correct.
They'll have, like, for, people could take them for harvest or do whatever.
That's a good point. I'll make a point of talking about, with the manager of water and waste about that.
Okay.
So, we're moving forward in the publishing of our 2025 year in review through the Selkirk Record. We did that, and we're as we're expanding on some of our other utilities, and so what we're looking for is in June, we'll be doing the much more, the second version. I'm meeting with the editor for the Selkirk Record tomorrow, and to discuss this along with some of our AI. Summary of activities for the month. There's the information related with all our 3 fire departments. Darrell Fire Department had 2 calls, East Beaches had 5, East Selkirk Fire Department had 7. A much slower than this time last year, when every fire department was completely caught in doing some significant fire issues. But those are the stats that we have available as to what type of fire calls we received, as well as for animal control. It's on an ongoing basis, and so we've had 10 complaints for barking related. Animal welfare concerns were 2, dogs at large were 2, and aggressive dogs, there were 2 that were, and we did issue some warnings, and 1 dog situation did occur where a dog had repeatedly left a house, and in this case went after a child. The child was not hurt or anything, but the owners chose to voluntarily euthanize the dog because they had trouble keeping him in there. It was a very sad situation because it was a 6-year-old dog. So attached with this is my February and March service request reports for protective services, public works, water and waste, and planning. So I'll just quickly go over those just to show you. So protective services I did for both February and March. It was a slower month, especially with the lack of any flooding related issues that have been were under control. So we had some animal control, noise, burning, hunting and discharge of firearms and so forth. The public works, we have the request for February and for March, as you can see. I won't go through them in detail, but you get the idea of what was completed. I'm in the process for the next report that I'll do a quarterly report and be able to show you some of the statistics and the type of issues. What this does is also gives me an opportunity to deal with some of these things, such as by February, we obviously still had some windrow removal issues, but by March, I'm expecting them all gone because there's no more snow left. So those are the kind of things that just to refine work with our staff that we're working on. Water and waste, similar thing, February and March. And as you'll see, in February and March, we have reports such as you can see, the majority is missed pickup from the 2 major areas that come in, and some of that is just some is valid, and sometimes it's just the containers weren't out there or were missed somehow. But this is an ongoing issue. We resolve them very quickly, and our curbside collection services service provider has been very diligent in going back and picking those up. As you can see, as soon as they were identified, they were closed. February, specifically, we were going through a fair amount of changes because we made the change early in February, late January. But when we take a look at March, those numbers have decreased dramatically. As what you'll see, the missed pickup went from 32 to 17, and they were all resolved, and the other 32 to 8. So as you can see, things are resolving very, very quickly. And, you have to remember, along with this, there were also a change in pickup dates, so there was we had a transition period because, the zone in East Selkirk, as I recall, the pickup date was changed to accommodate everyone having the same pickup dates for, recycling and pickup. So those are my stats, planning services, we're also tracking those. And so for planning related questions, property inquiries, zoning inquiries, or subdivision inquiries, they've been recorded in there as well.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions for the CAO on the reports that were presented? Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
I noticed on one of them it said a request, street lighting request was one of the requests for public works. Is that down in the south?
Yes.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, Heather, do you have anything you would like to share with us today? Okay, having said that, I believe our delegation is here, but before we bring them forward, we're going to move in camera, and we have a number of items to discuss in camera today, so.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, resolve, council recess the regular meeting and go into in-camera to discuss legal and personnel issues, and further be it resolved that all matters discussed are to remain confidential as per section 83(1)(d) of the municipal act.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, second, Councillor Bazarowicz. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor?